All right, Trevor, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Trevor Cardoza. I am a level design game designer at Level X and a recent graduate of St. Mary's College of California.
So why don't we start with asking a little bit about how you got introduced to game development?
Well, originally I was aspiring and going into biology, marine biology, but I met a good friend of mine, Brandon Charles, at a Cotillion junior year, and he planted that seed in my mind of game design possibly be games and game design in general being something that is more than just a hobby or something that you do for fun that you can actually get like you can do a career out of. And I got into it because he took me through this program, Game Heads, took me to one of their showcases, and I saw things that really inspired me to get into that field. And I guess I got bit by that bug. So yeah.
So before we get into what is it that you saw? Because I definitely want to hear about that. I want to go back and ask for those who are watching that are not time travelers from 1850. Can you explain what a cotillion is?
Oh boy. It is kind of like a quinceañera, but it is like very, very formal. And it's more of like you're going into adulthood, I guess, kind of like a quinceañera, but it's much more formal and it's for multiple women, preferably. And then they have their escorts, and I was an escort for a lady at the time. And so I met Brandon Charles as someone else's escort, and we had to learn the waltz and whatnot. And it was very, very formal, and the suits were very tight. And yeah.
It's
So
still, regardless of time travel, that's still something that I've never heard of happening in Oakland. Like I'm still baffled by that.
Yeah, I am just as surprised as you when I got that call to do it from my friend. I was like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
so is this a thing that you've done more than once in your life?
No, not at all. It was a one-time thing, and it was really fun, I will admit, but it was definitely a one-time thing, and all the preparation for it, I'm not doing that again. My lord, that was I think it was a year long like of dance practice, of like etiquette practice, of like how to put the damn suit on. There was a lot of stuff that I had to go over. Those gloves were the worst. I hated them. I just yeah, never again.
Okay, I don't want to spend all our time on this, but
Yeah,
this is an endless source of yeah, like yeah, that'll never stop getting like just the gloves added a whole nother
gloves
layer.
at that's yeah, that's a whole nother paragraph right there.
Um, all right, let's go back to though after that meeting you got introduced to Game Heads, you saw something there. What did you see? What is it that changed for you?
I saw people that looked like me. And when I say people that looked like me, I don't mean the caricature that is made up by diversity posters of this is what Black people in the tech industry look like. I always found that as very silly. I saw people that were actually like me, people that were like into nerdy stuff like me, that were like into certain video games that I was into stereotypically cool stuff too. Like it wasn't like your stereotypical, oh, this is what diversity looks like. It was very much like very grounded in real representation of what, not what I imagined tech to be like, because I always imagined tech to be like Caucasian 30 or like 30, 40-year-old dude that's very out of touch with culture making these video games. So that's kind of what I imagined. But that definitely enlightened me when I saw people that looked like me, people with nappy hair, people with dreads making games. I was like, oh shit, this is cool. I definitely don't feel like a sore thumb going into this space. I feel like I don't feel like some awkward like nerd stepping in here, or like yeah, like I would say nerd, because yet again I feel like the portrayal of what the industry is like, at least at the time, at least back in 2015, 2016, is very much like out
Yeah,
of
way back
touch.
in the day in 2015.
Yeah, I know my age is showing.
So many years later. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I always felt like it felt out of touch. At least that's how it's portrayed. But I mean, things have definitely changed now. It definitely is a lot more inclusive. But it, I guess to sum it up, it felt a lot more approachable, and I saw people that looked like me and people that I would actually enjoy having a conversation with, and I did enjoy having conversations with. So yeah.
So what did you do with that? Like that, would that something click for you? You know, your perspective on what was possible changed, right? What did you do with that?
I took it and run. I saw an opportunity that like, hey, I could be playing video games and make my mom proud. What? Crazy. And I took that and ran. And I saw a future for myself in there. And how I get there, I don't know. But I knew that this was a perfect first step. And most importantly, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. And I felt like, okay, well, at least this is something I can do that can keep me busy. So that's why I went down that path and at least started senior year in high school.
So before we get to where you went after high school, you know, you said it looks like something that it's an opportunity. There's something that can be fun, that I can enjoy, and I could make mom proud.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of, for you, what role, where does mom fit into your life?
Well, she was very disappointed when she heard that I switched my idea of a major from marine biology or biology to computer science and the subsequent roles that or subsequent majors that I switched from there. But she was very disappointed because she always saw me going into the medical field. She was in the medical field, and she always assumed that I would be in there, either biotech or some type of engineering in that sense. She always thought that I would be in that role. So when she heard video games, she's like, what the hell? You mean like that Halo and that Mario? No, you can't be playing that. And that was very disappointing to hear at first, but I'm like, look, just my mom has probably heard this a million times, but I just said, look, trust me on this, right? Just let me do it for a year. And I think I convinced her.
I think your mom was playing you. Look, if she could pull out both Halo and Mario as examples, she'd 100%.
She knows video games.
She really doesn't. I think my dad slipped those into her mind, because I think those are the only two times that she's ever gotten the names of a game right. I mean, I didn't even play Mario, but she mentioned it, and I was just like, "Oh, but yeah, she's very out of touch when it comes to that. But she's very supportive. I will say that it took a while, but she's very supportive.
Right.
So,
yeah. I was gonna say, like, when you enter the Game Heads program, right, you have to get permission from your parents, and you know, and you're going away for like 6 hours every Saturday and doing stuff, right? So, like, there had to be some. Was she just happy for you to leave the house?
That's what I thought. That's what I think. It's like she was happy my annoying ass was out of the house, honestly. But I definitely know she came in, like, was discussing with the director Damon Packwood a lot, but like, what are you doing with my son? Is he actually learning anything? Blah blah blah. And then he went through the curriculum, showed it off a bunch, and she really wasn't convinced at the moment. But she's like, you know what? He seems to like it. Do it for a year. I think what really convinced her was a showcase, when I actually like had something made and everyone else had something made and all these industries came in to see the showcase. At that moment, I think something clicked for her. And I think at that moment, she was very, very supportive from that point on. And that's why I've been in the program for 5 years at that point after that. So I think something clicked where she saw what I envisioned, I guess. And I'm very grateful for that.
So mom's pride was definitely not a foregone conclusion here at the beginning, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was a check mark that needed to be done. Yeah.
So
you mentioned some changes to, majors in school. Walk us through that. What, so you're senior year in high school, you're doing game heads, and now you need to go to college. What are you doing?
So I applied and got in as a computer science major, but was ill-informed that major didn't exist in its like fullness. They had a math with an emphasis in computer science with the promise of a computer science major come my junior year. So I went in originally as a math and computer science major, and slugged through all the math classes that entailed, and kind of just went through and was just trying to find myself at that point, because I enjoyed the work and I enjoyed like the problem solving of it, but it's just something about it wasn't clicking. I felt like it was too abstract for me at the moment, I would say. And that's what kind of pushed me away. And then I was still going to continue down that path, but because of the hope of, oh, this will transition to an actual computer science major. Cool. Then the director of computer science got fired. And well, not fired. I believe she left because of some disputes. So it's not fair to say that she got fired, but she's not there anymore. And that basically shot down the program of there being an actual major. So I'm like, ooh, okay, well, I could be a math major. I can't do that. I'm sorry. This is not for me. That's not what I came here for. And I was exploring options, and my suite mate at the time was a data analytics major. And I looked at his coursework and saw a lot of the scripting and engineering that I was interested in, and the building of programs that I was very interested in that major. A lot of classes that math and computer science majors did not have access to, that involved building out structures and building out algorithms to solve problems. And I was like, wow, why don't they have this? I'm going to switch to that. And that terrified my mother to death, because she was like, oh man, we have to be in college for 4 years and you got to get out of there. We only have scholarship money for this much. You're now switching majors where you have to do another 2 semesters of prereqs. What are you doing? And yet again, this is a common theme. I just said, Mom, just trust me. I'll figure it out. just trust me. Okay. And
so what did figuring it out mean?
Like, just figuring it out meant just doing whatever I could to get out in 4 years, honestly, and getting out satisfied, getting out with something that I know that I'm going to actually enjoy. And that involved a lot of stressing the end of my junior and all of senior year. That involved overloading way too many classes and sneaking to other universities and doing online courses there so I can get those transferred, and doing a lot of transfer work. So it was a lot of work, but I got it done.
Sorry, Ray, go ahead.
I was gonna just say, like, you're doing all that work to say you want to get done in college in 4 years, and you're doing games on the side and at Gameheads, right? Like,
yeah.
Why were you actually focused on getting done in those 4 years? Like, what was the end goal for you of getting that degree?
Well, I've always heard from, yet again, this is my mom and whispering my ear, influencing me, but like, you're not shit unless you got a degree. Basically, that's what she would always tell me. And it's like, if you don't have this degree, if you don't have a degree, you have nothing. If you have a degree, it's like you graduated high school now. That's what she would say. So she's like, you need that platform to get you to at least be seen. And I guess that's what that fear I had in my mind. I definitely now am enlightened, and I know there's all these technical schools and all these certification programs you can do outside of school. But at the time being, it was very much, you do this or you're not going to get anywhere. Like, what you're dreaming of, you're not going to get there. And you're definitely not going to get there if you don't do it in 4 years, because then our financials are going to there'll be a problem, and you're not going to be able to pay it off. And it's just going to be it's going to be a black hole for you. So I had that fear in my mind all 4 years of, I got to get through in a timely manner. And just doing Gameheads, just doing outside work, I feared would not be enough.
So at the same time, wait, before I ask this, I want to go back to something else. You corrected yourself when you said roommate, you said suite mate. What is the difference?
Oh, okay. Well, because I had a roommate and he was a kinesiology major. So he was no help in that discussion at all. But my suite mate, who like lived across from me, but we shared like certain facilities and whatnot, he was a good friend of mine, and he would always talk about the work he was doing. And I guess the difference is I didn't exactly see him all the time, but he was there, and I heard about what he did in passing and stuff. But
The difference between suite mate and roommate is roommate, you share the same room, suite mate, you share the same bathroom. We'll say.
Yeah, basically.
That's basically the difference.
That's basically the difference. Yeah. But yeah, my roommate was not much help other than the fact that, hey, you should make Fortnite. That's the comment I got from him. So I'm like, all right, buddy, thank you.
Thanks for the help.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you're switching majors here. You're still going through game heads this whole time, right? So let's walk us through that. What was how did you what were the roles that you worked on? What did you try? What did you make? Like what was that path like?
All right, well that's a long portfolio, but like can start with the first project I made, Gemini. It was a top-down stealth puzzle game, kind of alluding to Metal Gear Solid, but top down with like South Park like art. And I was a UX UI designer for that job, pseudo programmer, because our programmer got sick for a little bit and I had to take over for his role because we were getting close to our deadline and there's a lot of functionality that wasn't exactly in the game yet. So I had to take over because I was probably the second most competent programmer, I would say, out of the group. Because
did you just say pseudo programmer?
It was more of like I kind of jumped in to help. It wasn't exactly my official title, but we all know how indie dev is. You wear multiple hats. So I stepped in for that project. But for the most part, I was in like Photoshop and XD doing the designs for like health bars and for buttons and whatnot, and for special effects. So that's for that project, I would say.
So you came out of that thinking you're going to do UX? You came out of that thinking you're going to do programming? What did you come out of that project?
I came out of that thinking I definitely wanted to continue with programming. I don't know. It was a weird feeling I got because the programming was hard and annoying and it was painful at times, but like I enjoyed that type of challenge and that type of work. And I learned something about myself that was like, wow, this is actually kind of fun to be frustrated at this. And then when you finally get it, you're like, wow, this is awesome. So I was like, let's continue this.
So, okay, so frustrating, right? That's one of the properties.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult, right?
Yeah.
The three properties there that you just mentioned. Let's see what else matches up against this. I am going to go to a school that does not have the major that I want. Is that frustrating, annoying, and difficult? No, okay. I am going to pick a major that in math that is not my strength, nor holds my interest. Frustrating, annoying, difficult, sure.
Yeah, it's all lining up.
I'm seeing a pattern, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, well, we talked a little bit about why you wanted to, what drove you to be in school, but what drove you toward the industry, making games? Like, what was it that you wanted to be a part of?
What I wanted to be a part of was, I guess it all comes back to just doing something that was like, all these things, frustrating, annoying, difficult things that were leading up, and that challenge was something that drove me, but it was something that was very unique and very, very fun, I guess. And I guess I don't see myself doing a job that I don't have fun with. And I've always had fun playing video games, always. And then I started having fun making video games because you would make it, you would be like struggling a long time to get this functionality to work. And then you do, and then you play test it, and then they say it sucks, and then you have to redo it. And then eventually they like it and it's fun. And then you really see them enjoying it. And I guess that really long payoff is something that I've been striving for a long time. And the game industry seems like that young, fresh industry that will fulfill that for me. So I see myself wanting to have fun when I work, I guess.
So, let's talk about work then. What are you doing now?
If you can see my background, I am a I am currently a level designer / game designer at Level X, which is a basically a medical video game company, and they make games like Top Derm and Pulmonary X and stuff like that, which basically teach doctors in those fields how to deal with certain like elements and whatnot and certain surgical procedures. And then there's also the virtual training guide side of things, where they get contracts to work with medical device companies to teach doctors how to use their medical devices and do certain procedures and so on and so forth. So I am a level design game designer on the virtual training guide side of things.
I'll point out that your mother wanted you to get into the medical field, and somehow through random circumstance you ended up.
You're seeing how the fates are playing with the strings now, right? Yeah, I swear my mom knows people. I swear she. Like,
it's kind of a really interesting coincidence, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, because like I applied and I got the role, and I was really interested in it, but not for the like. I mean, I guess I was interested for the medical side, but not entirely. It was mostly because it was gaming, and also because it was doing something that was so unique and so bleeding edge that I'm just like, this is so wild. Like, I have to be a part of this. Like, this is cool. And
let me review my updated checklist now against this job, and you tell me if this is the job for you. Okay.
Okay.
Is it frustrating?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is it annoying?
Can be. Yeah.
Difficult?
Yes, absolutely.
Is it unique?
Very unique. Yeah.
Can you have fun while you're doing it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there a long payoff? Something way out there?
Yes, absolutely.
And does it make mom proud?
Absolutely. Yeah, she was screaming like crazy when she heard the word medical in the title. So
I think so it seems like it's the right job. I think we've nailed your checklist here of things that drive you. So what's different, like as a level designer, game designer, what is the difference for you between what you're doing and as part of this role and what might be happening is in a more entertainment driven version of that role?
Well, from my experience before, like from my past internships at actual game companies, from that to now, I've seen there's a major difference in the intent, I would say, behind design decisions. And you're gonna see another loop coming here. But like when it came to working at Sledgehammer, when it came to working at Manticore, a lot of my decisions and a lot of decisions that my peers and colleagues had were all based on gut feelings. And I feel like they're gonna like this, and I feel based on experience this is gonna work, so on and so forth. Let's just try it. Let's just go ahead. Where I'm doing now is very much, oh, I feel like this is going to work, but I need to also go through all these checks and balances to make sure that I don't accidentally blind this person when they're doing a lens transfer. Or, okay, that this looks good, but data shows that they need to have this type of stroke and this type of incision and so on and so forth when designing this. And the way that you're presenting it doesn't portray that. So we need to go back to the docs and we need to replicate this exactly. And there's this level of seriousness when, I guess, in the line of saving and helping people that I haven't really encountered in the more entertainment focused industry. Because at the end of the day, we are making games, and games are meant to be fun and replayable and meant to be intuitive, but there's a level of intuition that needs to be placed in them that they're actually learning something and they're actually getting this knowledge, or else, I mean, there's someone's kneecap on the line, I'd say. So like, yeah. So
adding to your checklist, then, a sort of a direct loop with helping people, right?
Yeah.
Where you can see that impact right away,
Mm-hmm.
and then a certain amount of measurable sort of rigor around measuring results.
Yeah.
That to sort of connect back to that data analysis major, really.
Yeah, I definitely see the connection there. Like a lot of people have asked, actually, even in the interview process for this role, they're like, why data analytics? And I always felt like it was necessary that like we always do all this Q&A and there's a lot of feel in games, but there's also ways that we can quantitatively figure out what is good, what works, and how can we store that and figure it out. And I felt like my background helped a lot in my game design decisions and how I go about my work. And I guess that's where the feedback loop comes back to why I'm at this particular role, because I can see the analysis directly impact my design decisions. And the analysis that I work with, the people that I work with who gather that analysis and how we look at it directly affects my design decisions.
So what does the future look like? What do you want to be when you grow up?
What do I want to be when I grow up? Oh boy. Definitely not an astronaut. I definitely see myself going deeper into game design. I always imagined games as an in for me, and then to be like, okay, by then I'll figure out what I want. But I definitely, since I'm in now, I definitely see myself going deeper into this game design, gameplay, engineering, technical designing type of role, and moving deeper into that, possibly management. I don't know. You can think about it, but I definitely see myself getting more technical in my design. So that's the future for Trevor Cardoza, at least.
So what are you missing? What are the skills that you think you're missing in order to move along that path?
The skills I think I'm missing are definitely, I would definitely say, more technologies, more frameworks, things that just little tools in the toolkit, but also I guess things that I haven't been afforded the chance to learn, well, academically at least. Outside I've tried to, but I would say academically is more of like the foundations of like algorithms, data structures. I've learned those, but like learned those on YouTube. But due to the major that I picked, it just wasn't a part of the curriculum. So those are things that I've had to supplement, and I believe I need to continue supplementing to push me into that direction.
So wait, due to the major that you picked, you mean the initial one where you picked computer science, the one where you picked math because there wasn't computer science, the one that you picked data and analytics because there still wasn't computer science? What major could you have picked where you would have, in fact,
I could have picked the data science major that was made right when I graduated. I could have picked that.
So if only you added 2 more years to college.
If only. Wow. Funny how things work out.
So go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, so how do you see like all of this stuff connecting, right? Like, how do you see all of your experiences and the things you've worked on and your vision for where you want to go in the future? Like, how do you see that actually getting you there?
Well, I don't want to sound like one of those like TED Talk people or one of those spokespersons at a college, but like I guess you could say I have a broader sense of design and broader sense of technicality, because I've branched into very different aspects of what is considered technical design, technical engineering and whatnot. Because I mean, I've looked at the data analysis engineering, which is very different from what we were being taught in the computer science classroom and what we were being taught outside of college. And a lot of this stuff, I guess you could say, very much jack of all trades, very much Renaissance man way of going about my technical experience. And I mean, most people would say that that's kind of like way too loosey-goosey and you need to like pick a path. But I feel very grateful for those very random divergence in my path, because it made me be a lot more like thoughtful about what I do when I make something or when I design something, because I'm coming from a bunch of different standpoints and different aspects of what I consider to be engineering. And I guess that's how I see it connect. And I see it connecting in the future based on more things that I try to learn and more things I try to add to the toolbox.
I mean, how does it connect to other other things in your life too that are not your job?
You mean like the annoying aspects of like me always trying to fix things or make things easier, or oh, we can do this thing with the TV to make it so then you could talk to it, and like there's always moments in my life. What are you saying?
Yeah, sure. Examples exactly like that. So
Oh,
what are you
yeah.
doing? Tell me what you're doing with the TV so that you can talk to it. What do you want to do here?
I just
That sounds like
honestly,
laziness, really. But go ahead.
I mean, didn't Bill Gates say that the best programmers and best engineers are the lazy ones? Like
Heard something like that.
I keep that in the back of my mind when I don't want to do work. But I think that like I said, laziness aspect comes from just me wanting things to be. I don't think optimized would be the right word, but definitely simpler and definitely a lot more streamlined.
It's not optimized in my experience. It's the opposite. It usually spends 100 hours to save one.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to time spent, it's not optimized at all because it always is just a waste of time to try
That's
to.
how many times you repeat it after the fact. But yeah.
So
Yeah,
what's the time? Tell me why do you want to talk to your TV? What is that?
Because I always see, I guess you could say, like in my life in interactions, I always see things that can be done simpler or can be done cooler or just done in a different way and can be done in ways that are just intriguing to me. I guess
No, not abstractly. I mean, literally. What is it that you are trying to do with your TV? Like what do you want?
Oh, Alexa.
So like just to change the channel and stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just like change the channel, turn the volume up, just the normal things that I'd have to, God forbid, reach for a remote to do. And
wow. Okay, yeah, that's so a remote. That's the thing we're optimizing here. The literal 2 seconds that it requires to get the remote.
Absolutely, that is a necessity.
It actually takes longer to say Alexa, turn the volume up than it does to actually turn the volume up.
It is much less reliable.
Now I don't know
it's definitely cooler.
It's definitely cooler. I don't know if my medical knowledge serves me right, but I don't know. It may burn less calories to say it than your arm to reach for it. I'm not sure. I may have to talk to someone about that. But
okay, then let's end this with what do you want people to know?
Oh boy, well, based on our conversation, that I am the most unorthodox example of not knowing what you want to do. Well, knowing where you want to go, but not knowing how you're going to get there at all. I am like the prime example of that. And that quote of I have not I guess the quote that I could end with about what you want to know about me is I have not failed, but I have found 1,000 ways that haven't worked. Like that could sum up my life. Basically, that could sum up every little thing that has happened to me. And it's been very bumpy and a lot of divergent paths. But at the end of the day, I am exactly where I saw myself being. And I see myself heading in a direction to where I want to continue. And I guess what I want people to know about me, or just to know, is that it is okay to just change up what you're doing. Like if you think that you're going somewhere and then you think this should change here and go there back and forth, you're not failing at all. You're not. It's okay to be unsure, and it's okay to change, to take different paths to where you want to go. And I'm living proof of that. I guess, yeah.
So I lied. I'm not ending there.
Man, I made it so heartfelt and everything. Oh man.
So if we go back in time, was something like that? Like, is that a kind of thing that you might have heard from somebody growing up, first of all? And second of all, if you did and you didn't understand that message, why not? What's different?
Yeah, so I definitely heard inklings of that message from my dad, because he was very much like, hey, like you need to stop focusing about like taking, like, well, not saying taking care of yourself, but like financially and like stability wise, you need to not focus on that. Just be happy. Just do what you love. But I was in the mindset of like, oh, that's not going to pay the bills. I can't do that. And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. But I definitely learned as through going through my life and trying out things that I thought would make me successful, but I hated doing. And then things that I really enjoyed doing, but I had fears that I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to live in San Francisco doing this. Like going through those processes and then coming out of it, I've learned that happiness really is a defining factor in what I consider to be success. Because you could be making all the money in the world, but if you're doing something that is really, really awful and you don't enjoy it, then what's the point? Like, and that's, I guess, what he was trying to drive home to me, is that you don't want to have a job. You want to have something that you enjoy doing, and it just happens to pay you. Like, that's what you want to strive for, because then you won't be like upset with where your life is going, because at least you're doing what you love and you can actually get up in the morning excited about what you do. And it's safe to say that I am pretty excited to get up and do what I do, even though I didn't originally think that what I was going to do was like game design for a medical company at all. But I'm very happy where I am.
All right. Well, then let's end it there. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you.